this video, we're going to take a look at how to add test questions for the online assessments. There are two ways you can add questions. You can either go directly from the grades menu to create questions here, or from the gradebook, we can click Add Test and get to the same screen. So I'll just come back to my portal main page, and if I click on grades, create questions, notice I'm on a very similar screen. So creating questions allows you to build the questions, and then you can build the test after that. So if I went to grades, create tests, I have more options because I can build the test, but I can create the questions as I'm building the test as well. The other option you see here, FAS tests, is not relevant for Brevard Public Schools because we do not have access to all of the features, as we did not purchase the entire student information system, only the gradebook. So we're going to start here. However you get to create tests or create questions, I like being on the create test page because I can move forward there. On the left-hand panel, this is where you create your questions. The middle panel is where you build your test, and then the right-hand panel is where you're going to set all your test options. So we're going to look at adding questions. If you click non-standard, it opens up a little more options here, and I'm going to click Add Question and click OK. Now, the question type. There are a variety of different question types. Multiple choice, obviously, students can choose only one answer. Multiple choice is a combination, so you can choose more than one correct answer, like A and C, or B and D, or A, B, and C, however. The extended response is an essay type response. So you're giving the students a large field to put their answer in. Short response, obviously, it's a shorter response. True, false. A gridded response is, for example, if you want the students to answer, their answer is 142.9. So they would grid 142.9. So that's a gridded response. If you're a world language teacher, perhaps you would like students to give you an audio response. There's a fill in the blank response, but this is specific, it's case sensitive. So for example, if the answer is the President of the United States, whatever you capitalize, they have to capitalize. So it has to be identical, case matters. And then if you want to include a passage. So we'll select a multiple choice test question. When it first opens up, it defaults to the answer count of 4. You can choose anywhere between 2 and 5 options. To enter your test question, click on the question text field and a text box will open. Here you will type your question, and you can format it by using the standard formatting options here. We also have the availability to insert images, tables, some different characters, and also insert some math functions. So type your test question, format it how you like, and then click OK. Then you have the answers. You have to enter the answers. The correct answer can be put in any position you like, so you just click and drag it to where you want it. And then, so you can either do that before or after you enter your answers. So my answer for A is the Constitution. I'm going to click OK. My answer for B is the President's Party. Click OK. and then I'm going to enter my correct answer into the third spot, and then click OK, and then my fourth response or fourth option, and then click OK. I'm then going to name my question. You can name your question however it is relevant for you, especially if you're going to reuse questions in the future. You can choose the cognitive complex, which goes from 1 to 3, and then just click add. This will add the this will add the question to your list of questions, which will always be there. But since we are actually creating a test, it's going to build the test. Now I can set the value for the question here. So however many points you want the question to be, whether it be 10 or 2 in this case, I'm just going to make it worth 2 points. So that's that's adding the question. If you choose later you don't want this question on the test, you can click the X sign. If you decide you want to edit this question, you click this center icon here, and it brings us back to this familiar page we were just on. It also brings up some item analytics on it. So I'm just going to click cancel because I already edited it. So now we're going to add another question, and this time we'll choose the multiple choice. Again, I'm going to enter the question text. So in this case, I'm just going to make it pretty simple. Enter, this is a multiple choice test question, answers A and C, and then click OK. And then notice how I can choose which ones are correct. I'm going to enter my answers, and again, I'm just going to make them very simple answers for testing purposes. So I entered A, B, C, and D, and then I'm going to mark A and C as the correct questions. Then I'm going to come over and I'm going to name this again. So I'm just going to call it Chapter 13, Q2, and click Add. And we can see now we have 2 questions in our question bank, and we have added 2 questions to this test. I'm going to make them each worth 2 points. If you need to take a break from the test that you're working on and you want to save it, you can save this as a draft. So if you click Save Draft, first you want to name it. So I'm just going to name this US Gov Chapter 13, and I'm going to say Save Draft. So notice up here it saved this as a draft. So if I have to, whatever, take a break because you're teaching class or something and you need to come back to it, I can come back to it. Grades, create test, and it actually loaded it for me. But if you have multiples, you can click here and then load that test. So now we'll add another question. I'm going to click the non-standard again. Of course, there's my list of questions. And I'm going to add a question. This time I will add a true-false question. So I click in the question text. I type my question. Hillary Clinton was the first lady to seek public office on her own. Click OK. And I'm going to choose the correct answer. Again, name my question, and then click Add. So I've now added 3 questions to this test. Let's add one more question. Oops, click Add Question. Let's add a gridded response. So a gridded response is going to ask the students to actually grid in the response. So go ahead and type your question title. So I'm going to put, this is a gridded response question, and click OK. Oh, wait, let me put the answer. 141.9. Say OK. And then I'm going to key in 141.9. So notice I keyed it on the right, and students will need to key it in on the right as well. And I'm going to name this question, Chapter 13, Q4, add. So let's add another question and take a look at some of the special insert functions. So we have the ability to insert special characters. So if I click that, we have greater than, less than, the @ symbol, so on and so forth. We also have accented letters here. So you can choose to enter any of these characters. The insert math allows us to add math functions. For example, if I click this feature and say I want to know what is the cube of 8, I click on the symbol, and then in the gray boxes I can enter the values that I want, and then I click OK, and it puts that math function, and then I can finish typing whatever I want here and then click OK. So let's go ahead and put in some answers here for this. Okay, so I put in some answers here with my correct answer labeled. And again, I'm just going to name this Q5 and click Add. If you would like to add a section, you can choose Add Section, and then you can name your sections. Please note there is no place to put directions for each section unless you can fit them in the name field, but you can name each section if you choose to do that. I'm going to click Remove Section. So I'm going to move over to the right and talk about the test options. Obviously, we want this test open to students online, and you want to usually auto-grade it, and each response will be auto-graded if it can be. But obviously, if you choose certain questions that require free form entry, like the extended response, the short response, or the audio response, you're going to have to grade those manually. You can choose to have the test open in a secure browser. Basically, that requires the students to install something on the computer, so you want to make sure they have the ability to do that. It does reduce the ability for them to go to other websites while taking the test on that computer, but you know, kids are kids and they're going to find ways. They'll just use their phone or another device or something like that. You can choose large print font. You can allow retakes of the test. Let me come back to that one. You can choose to open in a new window. However, you cannot choose secure browser and new window together. They don't work together, one or the other. You can allow other teachers to view the test. You can alternate multiple choice lettering between odd and even questions. So the first question will be A, B, C, D. Next question will be F, G, H, I. Let's come back to allow retakes to the test. If you allow retakes for the test and click that, notice it opens some other options. You can either choose the highest test score or the average of test scores. You can also set a refresh time. If you want the student to wait 30 minutes before they can retake the test, you can do that. You can set a login pin. So if you want to put this test up and so the students can see it, but you're not quite ready to let them take it, then you can put a login pin. There are also section options. So like I said, you can name the section and you can put directions here if they're not lengthy, but you can give students the ability to strike out answers, use a scratch pad. You can choose to shuffle the questions. You can make a calculator available, a clock, if you've allowed so much time for the student to take it, or you want them just to be able to gauge their own time. Shuffle multiple choice answers, scientific calculator, and 2-column printing. So those are section options. Now I can also view the test in HTML. So if I click on HTML, I can see the test, see what it's going to look like for the students. I can open a PDF, view what it looks like in PDF for the students. And then the online experience. So this is actually the student experience. They will see a please click here to begin, and then they choose the answer, and then they click next. So you can see the student experience. So I'm going to come back to options. So this is about all I can do on this page because I am under grades create tests. I don't have the ability to assign this as an assignment in my gradebook. So I'm going to save this, save my draft. So I'm going to save the draft, and I'm going to move over to the gradebook so that I can assign it. And I know that I can't do that here because if you look here, I only have test options and section options. And then when we go over to the gradebook to actually add a test to the gradebook, we're going to see a whole lot more options. So we're going to go to the gradebook, and then we're going to click Add Test. If it doesn't automatically pop up, we're going to choose our draft. Here's my USG Chapter 13 draft. And now notice I have a lot of different and now notice I have way more options for assigning this test as an assignment for the students. And we will pick up how to add this as an assignment and publish the test for students in the next video.